Welcome to your Inspirational Astrology Horoscope for Tuesday, October 8th, 2013. I am astrologer David Palmer, the Leo King, here to illuminate the collective consciousness. This is such an awesome day, a unique day. We're going to have the moon and Venus, which is going to conjunct while it squares Neptune, and we're going to have Mercury and Saturn make its official conjunction today. So we have a lot of things going on, but mainly, this is our energy ready to expand. You know, one thing about a moon and Venus in Sagittarius is it can feel really good as, you know, we've gone so deep in the Scorpio realm and there's this desire, there's this emotion that pulls you. It's very opposite of, you know, the Taurus energy, right? The Taurus energy is the physical manifestation of, you know, your desires and your value systems, whereas Scorpio is the deep underneath, the emotional energy that really drives us to understand what we desire. And when it comes into Sagittarius, like the moon and Venus just have, you know, it's an opening. It's doors opening to go emotionally, go for your desires, to understand, to learn. And a lot of this is this optimism, this hope. And a lot of this has to do with expansion as well. As we are ready to expand, we are getting closer and closer to understanding what this digging is all about in our lives. And Mercury and Saturn make a perfect conjunction today as our minds slow down to really take a look at understanding where the work is, the work of our desires, the structuring of our desires. You know, in many ways, this can be decisions as well that we are coming into understanding of. Now remember, Mercury is about to go retrograde here in a couple of weeks, and it's going to still hump over Saturn. So another time. So this is a place in your life right now that I pay attention to that is going to come back in understanding. And this has to deal with maybe relationships in your life as the moon is exactly on Venus today. Value systems as well that we're ready to manifest in our life because Venus is a two-sided sign. Now, the sun is in Libra, so how interesting that it's starting to square Jupiter. And again, this is about expansion, this is about optimism, this is about emotions. I mean, this is us balancing our life to make sure that we find harmony and that we find peace. Yet it is our emotions that are expanding, which can come in between this harmony and peace now, whether or not you're willing to expand, you know, your roots of your life. You know, a lot of this is rerouting our life to go into new places to explore more. Pluto is in Capricorn, this intense energy to dynamically get our destinies, to dynamically make sure that we reach our goals in our life. And in many ways, in order for us to get these goals, we're going to have to expand our comfort zones. We're going to have to really understand how we really feel. We're going to need to understand these desires. And today, there's this opening, this feeling of ready to go. Yet the energy is so crazy right now, you know, I think it's more of the understanding today and the feelings that you wrap around. Now it is squaring Neptune, so we can get lost maybe in the wrong feelings. Maybe we can get lost today in the wrong beliefs or the wrong doors. But I think if you're anchored in spirit, if you're paying attention to consciousness, we talked yesterday about how it's got to be open now. It's got to be conscious. If it's unconscious, whether it's in your relationship, whether it's anywhere in your life, you know, you're just like, oh my gosh. And I think that this is us now really starting to go in this deep, really powerful, very fiery energy of us and our passions. Mars is finishing up in Leo, and you're going to start to feel this as it's coming in because now the moon coming into Sagittarius, Venus conjuncting this is a really good feeling, and it's all for us to go for our hearts, to go for our passions, and to really fire up our internal selves. In many ways, I see this as a final afterburner coming in because looking ahead, and I'm almost done with this Cleopatra video. It'll have it out in the next day or so. But, you know, looking ahead, there's some crazy stuff about to shift, especially at the beginning of November as Jupiter's about to go retrograde, Mercury will be retrograde, Neptune's going to be in a stationary position. I mean, there's going to be a solar eclipse happening here in Scorpio. And remember, we're actually in eclipse season. We are in a full moon starting to brew here, and it's going to be an eclipse. That means the sun's getting closer to the north node. You know, this is the very sensitive area of the eclipses because this is where the north node is. There's so much energy funneling right now by the universe of us into this truth, into this core, into these open doors of where they lead, where they go. And it's all of whether or not you're running your GPS correctly. A lot of this is spiritual tests to make sure that you're really following your right guide, that you're not misguided in any way in your life. And that can be really confusing. It can be very confusing times of these feelings and this expansion and this wanting to go. Is this really the right energy? Is this really the right relationship? You know, there's a lot of these questions out there, but I think a lot of this has to go for the big picture. You know, one thing about Sagittarius, one thing about expansion is you never stop expanding. You don't worry about the small little things. You know, you have got to grow. And in many ways, we need to understand by going. That's what's so crazy, but it is whether or not this ticket that you load with, this new desire in your life, these new energies, and possibly these new relationships are based upon a conscious decision, based upon us really being able to tap into the intuition of ourselves, following the signs. A lot of this has to do with SIGNS, signs. You know, it is about signs and about what feels good in the signs. This is not logical energy. This is very emotional energy. This is about starting to add some mutable energy to things, which really does create change as well, and adaptability and changeability now that we're at this fixed place in our life and we're beginning some new, you know, connections of, you know, this Libra energy to bring more balance in our life and make sure that we have connections that are based off the right identity and based off the right goals. This is making sure that we are starting to change aspects of our life to open ourselves more correctly or to learn more about where we can take our lives. And so much of this is going to be by us going through this destined couple weeks. I'm going to be real. The next couple weeks to a month is going to get fate train crazy, crazy, crazy. I mean, we are in eclipse season. We got a big lunar eclipse brewing, which is dealing with our connections, our identities, our relationships, ourselves. Venus is going through this craziness for the next couple days here, squaring Neptune. I mean, this is a magic carpet ride that you got to make sure it's got enough gas in it so it doesn't fall down. You know what I mean? And it's pretty incredible times, but it's a really powerful day. This is a great day to open up and to really open up. And some people, maybe they're afraid to open up. Maybe you're afraid to journey. Maybe you're afraid to learn. And that's what you need to make sure you're guided towards right now, and that you're not misguided in this direction. Maybe you feel like you open to spirit and you're listening to the signs, but maybe you're not willing to adventure into them. And that's where this is coming towards. It's gonna be you know, a time for us to really open up to this new possibility and these new connections and karmic connections. And connections go deeper than just people and relationships. They go all over the board, and I pay attention to what these karmic connections you're making in yourself right now to bring you more balance, more harmony. And a lot of this is to understand what you really want, to understand what your workload is going to be about. Because if you have your truth and you have your goals towards this truth, there is nothing that can stop you. Check out my website, inclusiveastrology.com, if you want to have a one-on-one reading or if you have any questions. Thank you guys for all of your support, and I will see you tomorrow.